Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Coach Andres with coachingwithandres.com. And ladies, thank you for joining. Thank you for tuning in. Today, we're going to talk about 5 red flags. 5 red flags to be aware of. It's very interesting stories I've heard in the relationships I've coached. The red flag scenarios come and go, but there's never a name for the red flag. It's always a feeling. They're terrified, they're overwhelmed, they're uncomfortable, they're insecure. It's just what to do with this flag. It's just a flag. But the idea is they don't know how to act on it because they don't know how to identify it. That's why it's important to see these videos or be aware of your own red flags, to give it a name, understand it, have a familiarity with it. Kind of like my other video I did before, check it out. It's about triggers, how to handle triggers. And the first tip was to give it a name, in a sense. Give it a name so you become more familiar with it compared to just shocked when it happens. Because triggers are going to happen, red flags are going to happen. These are inevitable. Be prepared. Not to a point where you're just obsessed with it, but again, the most interesting thing I say as a relationship coach to someone who doesn't believe in relationship coaching is this. You want an education. You want your kids to have an education. You commit, you sacrifice to paying for your education, paying for your college, paying for your kids' college, tuition, everything. Highly investment. Beautiful, worth it. You commit to working 40 to 60 hours a week, learning, training, orientation, interviewing, late nights, overtime, to a job you love or don't love. You commit to that work for the paycheck to provide. Let's say this one, you commit to eating healthy. You commit to doing the work on learning what works in my system with nutritional intake, hydration, exercising, yoga, meditation, spirituality, even to a point to faith or religion. You put in the work because you want to feel good, look good, do good, right? So you take the time, you invest, you spend money, you do the hours, you go to the gym, you sweat, you bleed, you cry for all those things. But when it comes to relationships, no, I got it. I got relationships. I'm good. Come on, PhD, relationships. I got it. I don't need to learn it. I don't need to do any investment. I don't really need to educate myself. I got it. I've seen TV shows. I've seen The Notebook. I know how love is. I get it. And maybe you even do have great role models from your parents or maybe family, siblings, or anyone else. But the ignorance I hear of saying, I won't invest, I won't pay, I don't need to learn about relationships, probably the most impactful thing in your life. The most impactful thing in your life. When it's all said and done, are you going to think about that workout, that paycheck, or that exam? No. You're going to think about the person by your bedside. You're going to think about the parent that you become with the other parent who you marry. Even to the point of the relationships with you and your kids. The relationship part, people downplay and say, I'm just going to go with the flow. I already have it. I understand it. I get it. Great. Let's just be more prepared then. So when it comes as a coach, I always tell people, I'm glad you don't feel like you don't need it, but to say like it's not helpful, it's ridiculous. We need to be more aware of relationship coaching, relationship within ourselves. And that way, everyone says these days, 2023, relationships suck. Everyone's toxic. Everyone's a narcissist. All these dysfunctional cheaters and ghosters and love bombers. I'm like, yeah, because that's what sells, and that's what you're looking up, and that's basically approaching the same dating world like everyone else. Clueless. No direction. Not even understanding what your red flags are or what red flags are from someone else. So take a look in yourself about, why do I have this approach to date a difficult situation of toxic dating, toxic world, but I'm going to keep on dating that way. Why not the investment within yourself? Contact me. I'm here to help you. I'm here to hold you accountable. I'm here to set you to a point of separating yourself from that dating pool. Because as someone who works out, or a student, when you're prepared, you practice, when it's game time, you're having fun. Now it's time to play. It's the same formula in everything in life. You work your ass off to enjoy the benefits. You work out hard and practice so you enjoy the game. You study your butt off to get the A+ and keep on moving forward. You do some work for yourself with relationship guidance, mental, emotional guidance. Relationships are more fun. You see clearly exactly what it is. You know exactly what you're looking for. You could smell narcissism from a mile away, like, get away from me. Get away from me. And you don't need to kind of just go with the flow, especially the ladies out there who I coach sometimes get persuaded towards the men's direction, the men's way, the men's rules and time frame of how to date. They just kind of lose themselves in that situation. Be aware of it. So today we're going to talk about 5 red flags real quick to be aware of these situations in the beginning stages, relationship stages, or even whatever the stage is. But be aware of this. Give it a name. Number 1, red flag number 1, intensity. Intensity. Intensity is good for certain things. Not with the relationships. Not with expressing your feelings. Not with resolving conflict or an argument. Intensity could be harmful, damaging, threatening, unsafe. When someone expresses very extreme feelings, over the top behavior, and it feels overwhelming of constant intensity. I had one client say, well, it's just because you're so passionate, coach. I'm like, this isn't a novella. This isn't Telemundo. I don't care about passion. If there's an intensity thing going on within that person, it's probably stemming from something else. Bad habit, an addiction, childhood, who knows, something. We all got something. So let's get over that. We all got something. But if there's a certain level of intensity, angerment issues, it's not about you and him about that situation or that talk, but that intensity that resurfaces, that recycles in the situation. That's a red flag. And that's where if you are dating someone, you want to be able to be like, hey, it doesn't need to project to that point. We don't need to add more gasoline to this fire. How do we, I want to understand you in this point. But if someone has an intensity and doesn't want to hear it, intensity and they're in denial, intensity and they reject your offer, you're basically dating a wall. It's not going to go anywhere. Be aware of that. Number 2, manipulation. Very obvious. See it all the time. And it's interesting because a lot of times these manipulative people come after bombing you with love. They bomb you with love. They swoop you up, mostly played by narcissists, but not everyone's a narcissist. Sometimes they're just selfish, cold assholes who aren't narcissists, have narcissistic qualities as a manipulation. And so when you're trying to pay attention to a red flag like manipulation, that to me, it says, yes, this person is going to manipulate you. You might get manipulated in some form. But if you're in a relationship with this person, I'm going to call you out saying, why did you not take your time to date this person longer to see his true colors? Not the honeymoon phase where everything's beautiful and perfect. He does nothing wrong. His farts smell like roses. None of that. The real him and the real you. That's, again, why you want to take your time to be aware of certain people's red flags. You got them, I got them, we all got them. But are there red flags? Are they deal breakers? Deal breakers like intensity. That's kind of scary. Manipulation. No, thank you. Who am I dating here? Like freaking Nick Fury over here, the Avengers? I don't trust a word you're saying. You're like a spy with a spy's attitude. No, thank you. Manipulation. So again, these red flags that surface or reoccur or something that's new, don't commit to the person behind it. Don't get exclusive with that situation. Be aware of it. Call it out. Number 3 is pretty clear, pretty distinct. And at this point, hopefully you're away from this person, but sabotage to the highest level of offending your name, your representation, your work, your energy, your health, your peace, to sabotaging to little things on the side. Again, these things kind of continuously increase intensity, manipulation, sabotage. I know this sounds obvious as red flags, but it's interesting that I've seen and heard and coached so many stories with sabotaging, manipulating, and intensive situations, and they don't know what to do with it. They're surprised from it. They want to work through it. And like I said, everyone's got red flags, so if you're going to work through it, there's got to be some level of mutual effort, mutual awareness to go somewhere better. But if you're ignoring it or denying it or trying to do all the work to heal it from someone who is manipulative, sabotaging, and intense, you're going to be exhausted. You're going to drain yourself. You're going to lose yourself. You're like, what was I doing? You don't need to coach him. You don't need to babysit, nurse that. It's not your job. Intensity, I could see situations where it's somewhere where maybe it's not a deal breaker, but it's something to pay attention to. Manipulation, now we're talking about deal breakers. Sabotage, I don't ever want to see you again. Simple. You giving me full permission to ghost the hell out of you because you sabotage me. That's beyond bad boyfriend. That's deceitful. Get rid of them. Number 4, guilting. My goodness, this person sounds awesome. If you don't see the difference between sabotage and guilting, let me explain. Sabotage is basically doing something to make you look bad, put you in a position of feeling weak, belittling you. And then guilting is basically, I don't know what you're talking about. It was your mom who said that. What are you talking about? That's just because you have trust issues because of childhood. No, that's because you and your dad. No, it's not me. No, it's their son's fault. Like pure victimization on themselves. They're just like, no, I don't feel responsible for this. I didn't do any of that. Yeah, you did. You said it. You texted it. You read it. You acted on it. What do you mean? How's it not come to you? Oh, they sabotage. They manipulate. They're intense about it. And now they're just like, I'm not guilty. What are you talking about? It wasn't me. Please, in any situation, if you are in this relationship, create space. Create boundaries. Don't get used to this. Don't make this the new norm of the relationship. Unfortunately, I coach a lot of situations where people do. They accept it because it's the new norm. It's okay. It's just him being him, coach. Really? Sabotage, manipulation, intensity, guilty. Not very inviting. Number 5 is a tricky one because as a coach, I understand how it can be very sensitive for both parties. Deflecting responsibility. Deflecting responsibility. That's a red flag to a point where they have no accountability and they just blame everything on their emotional behaviors, their traumas, their triggers, their red flags, their issues, their childhood, my mom, my dad, my ex, whatever, trust issues. It's not that I don't care. It's understandable, but it's not acceptable to deflect responsibility. And then why I say it's tough and a sensitive topic, because you might see situations where people would try, which is all we ask for, progress, not perfection, a little effort to own up, to grow from these issues, insecurities, traumas, red flags that we all have. And that's all you ask for. But again, not deflecting the responsibility that it comes with, taking accountability to grow from it compared to blaming other people, guilting, right? Almost to a point where when someone makes excuses constantly with unhealthy behaviors. Well, that's just how I get. You know me. Sorry. And when there's time of the situation, I'm always like this. When I see him or see her, I'm always going to be like, excuses, excuses, excuses. And as a coach, as someone, I make sure I take a lot of pride on not judging. I can understand and respect the excuse on why you feel this triggering red flag in themselves or towards you. But it's not acceptable. You're still making the excuse. When are you going to grow from it compared to running away from it? I got more red flags I want to talk about a little later, but it's going to be in different situations. Red flags in the early stages of dating, red flags in the ending stages of dating. But I just want to say thank you very much for watching this video. Be aware of this. Leave any comments, any likes, any questions about coaching. I'm always here to help. Thank you for all the support. Talk to you soon.